My holiness envelopes everything I see. Welcome, David here. From my holiness does the perception of the real world come. Having forgiven, I no longer see myself as guilty. I can accept the innocence that is the truth about me. Interesting sentence. I can accept the innocence that is the truth about me. So you're eternally innocent. You cannot possibly be guilty. And because of that, working backwards, there's nothing you need to be forgiven for, and there's nothing you need to forgive in that sense. And because of that, it means you have forgiven totally yourself and others. Do you see the backward working? Innocence is the eternal state of reality. That is the truth about you. Therefore, guilt is just part of that illusion that you've been projecting on yourself and on others. Which automatically means that if innocence is the eternal state, then imagine this. Let's say, remember something that you had held somebody else guilty for, like, this is your fault, you did this, and then now you're asked to forgive them. So sure, you forgive them and you say, okay, fine, they're no longer guilty, I forgive them. But if you trace back the origin of why forgiveness in the first place is asked for, is because you have held them guilty because of your wrong perception that they are capable of guilt. But here we're saying that in truth, innocence is the truth about you and everything else. Guilt never comes to place. So if you in the first place had this always in mind, you would never hold anyone guilty, therefore there would be no need for forgiveness. That is why I'm saying that there's nothing really to forgive, because there's nothing really to hold guilty. You understand? Okay? And this, working backwards again, is the holy perception. You see? That everything is innocent. Because everything is made of the one, and the one is forever innocent. Do you start to see that guilt is a function, transgression is a function of separation? Where there is many different parts, you can come up with a concept of guilt and blame. That part did this to that part, and that part is therefore guilty, because that part should not have done this to that part. But where there is only one, this whole idea doesn't even make sense, you see? Anyways, seen through understanding eyes, the holiness of the world is all I see. For I can picture only the thoughts I hold about myself. Again, working backwards, remember, the world that you see is a function of what thoughts you have, what beliefs you have. Therefore, if your thoughts are pure innocence, then all you will see in the world is innocence. And these are called understanding eyes. So that's why, like I said, working back, seen through understanding eyes, the holiness of the world is all I see, because I only see the thoughts that I have. And remember, the thoughts that you have are always thoughts about yourself. Even when you think, let's say you're thinking about somebody else, like, that person did me wrong. This idea, when you have this idea, that person did me wrong, is based on your idea of who you are. First of all, you believe that you can be done wrong, number one. Number two, you believe that you are person X, and person X should never have thing Y done to them. And therefore, since person Z has done thing Y, has done Y to you, that person is guilty. Do you understand? So even when you think of others, you're basically making a statement of yourself. Do you see what I'm saying? Today's idea extends the idea for yesterday from the perceiver to the perceived. You are holy because your mind is part of God's mind. And because you are holy, your sight must be holy as well. Sinless means without sin. You cannot be without sin a little. You know, that's kind of like being a little pregnant. You know, you cannot be a little bit pregnant. You're either pregnant or you're not, right? So you cannot be without sin a little. You are sinless or not. You are sinless or not. If your mind is part of God's, you must be sinless. Or a part of his mind would be sinful. Do you see what it's saying here? That's since you and God are one. If you have sin, means God also has sin. But because God is sinless, or the Creator is sinless, that means you are also sinless. So any idea of sin, error, by the way, sin comes from an old, can't remember whether it's Greek or Latin, you know, like sans serif, you know, like if you know what, fonts, like, you know, you have the different fonts on your computer. Some fonts are called serif fonts, some are called sans serif, or without the serif. You know, the serifs are those little curvatures in a letter. Anyways, the word sin means without, or in error. You know, not without, sorry, error or exception or something. Look, the root of the language, I can't remember whether it's Latin or Greek, I'm sorry, but I do know I've read it somewhere, and you can double check this. Sin kind of stems from the idea of error. It's not, it's just a mistake, you could say, you know. And so this whole idea of sins comes from the very original mistake of believing in the illusion of separation, you know. Your sight is related to His holiness, not to your ego, and therefore not to your body. See, that last sentence is really cool. Your sight, let's call it vision, is related to His holiness or to your Creator. Vision is not related to your ego. It has nothing to do with your ego or that part of your mind that believes it's separate. And therefore, it is not related to your body, which means it's not related to your eyes, your ears, your sense of touch, whatever. Those will never really get anywhere close to real vision. When you have vision, you might still have eyes and open eyes and everything, but remember, it will be coming from the mind. It will be flowing from the mind. Vision will be flowing from the mind and extending outwards. Okay? Like we said before, even perception anyways is created in the mind. Okay, so I mean, perception is created in the brain, vision from the mind. There's a big difference. The brain is just a physical thing that you have in your head. The mind is something else totally. So that's it. Thank you. Your exercises are below, and see you tomorrow. Thank you.